right, guys, we're on another field trip back here at Dave's Auto. We've got this Bronco that Dave and I recovered from up in Idaho. But one of the most common things when people mail into build requests at sellers.com, I want to motor swap this, I want to motor swap that, I want to motor swap a Prius to, I want to motor swap a semi, all that stuff. One of the things with this Bronco, we want to understand how good is this motor right now, and also, if it's not good, can we motor swap it with the motor that we had in the shop up there that you can see right here? Remember that motor that we were looking at? Decided we wanted to come to the education master himself, Dave at Dave's Auto Center. They're awesome because he's going to give us a little rundown. If it's good, if it's bad, if it's possible. Hopefully by the end of this video, you guys will understand what it takes to motor swap a vehicle, whether it's this Bronco or anything else. So come along, I hope you enjoy. It's going to be great. Got a couple critters in there.
Yeah, which is about normal. There's a wiring harness that's been chewed through because I don't see that, which is good. Because usually when you get animals up in here, they start chewing through that. But I don't see that.
For sitting in the elements for 10 years, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. I mean, an old copper radiator, and it doesn't, I don't see any leaks coming out of it. And you know, you run the motor for an hour or something, and if it doesn't, the gaskets and seals don't start spewing. Heck, I can see the accelerator pumps leaking. Yeah. But you know, so the carb's probably going to need to be rebuilt so we don't have a fire. You got fuel leaking out of that.
We tried our best to get it started on fire.
That's the accelerator pump diaphragm. You can see the fuel coming out of it. But yeah, I mean, it's all here. So let's just get it up and running for them and get it out of our hair.
$500 to get it up and running, right? That's what you're saying.
$500 for me to look at it. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to need.
Okay.
Rebuild the carb.
That for sure. Let me see if the throttle shafts are wore out. If it's even worth rebuilding.
Just get a new carb.
Well, I'd rather not. I bet you can't buy a good new carb. This is what the problem is on any carb. Like if I could teach people anything. There's 4 circuits on a carb. On this carb, there's only 3 because you don't have secondaries. This is a 2-barrel. You have your idle circuit, which is when it's on idle, choke's completely open. When it's on idle, you look down a carb, you don't want to see any fuel. If you see fuel dripping, you got a problem. Yes. So if you got a car running and you look down at Venturis and you don't see any fuel, your idle circuit's good. Then you have an accelerator pump circuit. That's when you go whoop, whoop, whoop. You get, that's the second circuit. And then you have your primary circuit. And the primary circuit as soon as you come off idle. Then you should have gas coming through the Venturis. Those are the 3 circuits. And then if you had a 4-barrel, you'd have the 4th circuit, which would be secondaries. And then you'd whole pump, and then the secondaries open. Those are the 4 circuits in a carburetor. But the problem here is this throttle shaft is just wore out, and so you'd have to either bushing it, get a new faceplate, or you get another carburetor. That carburetor you can't rebuild it.
No.
Okay.
Carburetor will never work right if you don't have all your airflow has to come through here. If you have any vacuum leaks at the base plate, the throttle shaft plate, or intake manifold gasket,
you're pulling air from anywhere else.
Anywhere else, you're never going to get a carb set right.
Okay.
It's just you're just beating your head. And if a throttle shaft is leaking like that, will it run? Yeah, but you'll never be able to get it tuned right. It'll die at idle. It just won't run right. And then the other thing I'd worry about on something like this is stretch timing chains. If it's got good compression. That's what I'll be looking at for $500. I'm going to run a compression test on it. If it's got good equal length in each hole, then I'm going to pop the distributor cap off, put a breaker bar on the crankshaft, and I'm going to rock that back and forth at the crank. And that's going to tell me how much slack I have in the timing chain. And if you have a lot of slack in the timing chain from the crankshaft to the camshaft, and then the camshaft drives the distributor. And if you got all that slack in the timing chain, your ignition timing is never going to be right because your cam timing is retarded because it's slack in the timing chain. It's like a motorcycle. You know, you do that all day long on a motorcycle, your chain's off. That's what happens on a motor like this, especially on a heavy ride. The timing chain in there is just probably like
Actually loosens up.
And so if the compression's good, I'll find a stretch chain, I'm sure of it. We'd want to put a timing chain in it, get a carb on it, this thing will run like a brand new.
Yeah.
And this high horsepower.
We're gonna need a carb for that bad boy anyway.
So if we were to just get this thing running again, it's good to go. Just go cruise in the mountains, have fun, beat this thing up, make some memories.
You know, if they just wanted to have memories in it, because you know, you're never gonna fix the body on this thing, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know the market, but I don't think are they sought after?
It just depends. It's ranging from 3 to 6 figures, right?
There you go again. People ask me all the time, what do you think it's worth? And I'll tell people flat out, I have no freaking idea.
Yeah.
I'm just fixing motors in here.
I want to motor swap
Mostly-
this. I want to motor swap that. I want to motor
Swap my Ranger.
Yeah,
Those are my
diesel
favorite.
swap my Ranger.
You called me the other day about a Volkswagen.
Yeah, man.
Gee, can I put a Cummins in my Volkswagen?
Yeah, why not?
And you said yes, right?
Well, I said I can do anything.
You can put a saddle on that Cummins and ride it around.
That's exactly what I say to people. I'm like,
I can
I'll
do
do anything
anything.
you want, but what's your budget?
And here's the answer to that. Can we do any motor swap? And well, let's call powertrain.
Okay.
Because then you got to hook up the motor to your gearbox or transmission.
Yeah.
So you got to have that too. So that's that's the conversation.
Yep.
You got to say, okay, that motor might not even bolt up to your power distribution, your transmission.
Yeah.
So now now we got that to deal with. And then you got exhaust, mounting hardware, some fabrications involved. You got fuel system. Are we going to keep carburetor? We're going to go fuel injection. The car came with carburation. Then you got fuel tank, return lines, electronics, wiring harnesses. Then you got exhaust manifold. Then you got to hook up the exhaust and get it out the back end. I mean, there's a lot involved.
Yeah. Like if you were just going to take a Cummins, try to throw it in here, you have to look at all that space. Where am I mounting it? Can I mount it there? Can I do that? And then I do need to get a new transmission. So can the transmission even fit between the two seats going back that way? Otherwise, I've got to fabricate something else. I got to mold the body completely.
Have I put LSs in things? Yeah, we'll put an LS in old muscle cars. Yeah, and that there's a lot of internet stuff on that. So that the first thing that you got to tell a customer is, the internet's a great. I mean, you guys aren't old enough. Back in the day,
You don't know
You just
my
had to
age.
figure it out.
you guys are not old enough.
You don't know my age.
You had to read the encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Had the
That was a
Dewey
good
Decimal
one.
System back then. You had to check it out with.
And we were.
I checked out a book.
There you go.
Big drawers of 3x5
There you
cards.
go, dude.
Take it out. You give it to the librarian. You get to take the book home.
It's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a big deal to do a powertrain swap in a chassis. It ain't. Now, there's sometimes, like if you're doing one, say in a 68 Camaro or 72 Chevelle and you want to LS that thing, there's companies out there going to sell you every part you need. And
Yeah.
it's good stuff. And you just go on the internet and do it. But 20 years ago, oh man, you had to be able to go to like a SEMA show, get a catalog from the guy.
Yep.
But now you can buy the whole package and drop it in and boom. But really, what does that cost? Let's be serious. You're 50 grand like that.
So LS.
Thank you for saying
LS
that.
swap this.
Yeah, I mean that's why I said you're 50 grand like that. I wouldn't even talk to you.
For somebody, it's something that we've never done before, so there's a lot of time for research, fitment,
Yep.
pulling engine out and in
Yeah.
multiple times.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of R&D.
yeah, a lot of R&D. So, yeah, sometimes customers get upset because they're like, well,
I know better than you.
I read on the internet.
So I appreciate you saying that, because that's a lot of the responses that we give to people is, listen, you said motor swap, you're minimum 50,000. Now let's talk about what you're wanting to do. Right now we're talking with the guy and his build's going to be over 300,000. He's wanting to do this giant motor swap. And I'm like, listen, all these people rejected you for a reason, because you can't, you have to have a lot of money to rebuild an entire vehicle. You're asking me to put a shell of something onto a very custom vehicle, so that's what we'll do for you. But you are very high budget, and so let's see if you actually are worthwhile on that end.
You guys know I had a body shop for 15 years.
I didn't.
Yeah, I've often said you don't need to talk to an astrophysicist to find out if there's black holes in the universe. There's one in race cars and a body shop.
Oh, okay.
I mean, my body shop is a black hole, man.
Gone.
It's impossible, because we'd do insurance work, which is another.
Yeah.
That's another video. But people would want to come in and do like a resto on an old Chevy or something like that. So you tell them, you give them an initial, and you go around and you'd find all the body putty that they put on it, and you'd say, okay, this is about where we're at. And then you'd say, but I want to send it to the blaster and have it completely blasted.
Mm-hmm.
I got to have the whole thing cleaned up. And then you clean it off, and there's gaping holes in the quarter panels, and then you're telling a guy, and all of a sudden, what you thought you could do for 10 to 15 grand is now $30,000.
Yeah.
And they lose their mind, and you're like, guy, I'm just the guy telling you. And if you can find, like if you can find another guy to do it cheaper, please.
Sure, yeah.
But they can't.
Now this family, at the estate sale they were having, one of the old friends came out of the woodwork. He's like, hey, what are you gonna do with that motor that's in the shop? We're like, we don't have that much information on it. Okay, that's this one right here. And the friend that was talking to him said, well, it came out of this other vehicle and it was able to lift the front wheels off the ground. Vin Diesel this thing, okay? Menage, if you will. I think from the get-go, when we all saw the pictures, we're not there. But now I want you to hop in. Tell me what you know about this. Just looking at it, why would it not be a 700 horsepower engine?
Got the factory crank in it.
Okay.
Now, let me say this. A 351 Windsor can produce, the bottom end can handle that. But, but the heads can't. The heads...
You'd have to have an aftermarket head on there in order to...
Yeah, those heads will never flow enough air.
You got the 2-barrel.
Yeah, I think it's probably stock. This motor is probably somewhere, the internet will tell you, what was it, about 1 horsepower per cubic inch usually. It's probably coming out of the factory, 350 horsepower. So if you're going to double that, that's compression and airflow. It's simple math, and the math ain't happening here.
But the signs with the stock parts and the sign with the 2-barrel carb is a pretty good sign that...
A snorkel in your mouth and it was that big. It said, run up the mountain there, boy. And you were stuck with that. You'd only go so far, but if we took it out and you could then suck all the air that you were designed to suck in, you'd make it. It's the same thing here. You just couldn't, no way.
This thing has asthma right now. It's not getting 700 horsepower.
And people all the time want to bring me an old car and they want to, like with a 350 Chevy in it, an old Vortec motor, 1-piece rear main, and they're like, I want to build that motor in 700 horsepower, whatever. And I'm like, nah, not doing it. Because you can let's just LS the package. Everything's available. I can put an LS in it, and they, and I tell them how much it costs, and they're like, no, I don't want to do that. And where if you build something like this for that, the durability, the technology just wasn't, it's not there.
Yeah.
There's no sense, man. There's just no sense. I had to put this in my sim test first off to do a compression on, and
probably similar outputs between the two, right?
Well, yeah, dude, to me to look at this motor, somebody's got hoodwinked. But that motor had never been apart, bro. Yeah, it's the original stuff.
Yeah, just looking at the seals right there and everything, it looks like it's...
The intake it's still got the original factory, the blue.
Yeah, it's a stock engine.
Yeah, this is a stock engine. I think somebody
saw a truck do a wheelie, go to the shop, and then there was an engine, and they don't know if that engine came out of that truck or not.
A lot of people say, oh, the car will do wheelies. Please. Just what I see right now, and the frame and everything, you're 50, 60 grand on
just in body.
On body.
Yeah.
And then your motor and powertrain stuff, you're the same, easy. So 75, you're 125, 150 grand.
Exactly.
Well, I'm hearing we're not going to take this off or anything. You're not going to have a look at that. I get it, Dave. Thanks for bursting our bubbles. But here's the other portion that I wouldn't mind seeing how you test it so we can see it on camera. You've shown us plenty of times. When people bring used motors, they bring a used motor, they want that to work because I guess one of the issues that we've run into, but you see it a lot more, is, hey, I've got this used motor, I want to rebuild it, I want to do all this stuff, and then later on you put in the time and effort that they asked you to do, and then if something blows up, it's your fault.
I got you. Let me explain.
Can we walk in there, change the scenery a little bit?
Yeah.
Buying a brand new crate motor can be expensive and everything, and when people are starting to look at rebuilding things and everything, everyone's always wanting to like stay within their budget, do all that stuff, so they find like, oh, I found this used motor, it's really good, all I gotta do is maybe get it machined a little bit, test it out, see if it works, or these guys have told me it's a really good motor, can you just swap it in? We've made a mistake a few times where we don't have all the diagnostics you do and whatnot. We've taken the customer's word for it, like, hey, if you know the history of the motor, you want to do that, we'll swap this for you. But then we get calls several months down the road like, this went bad, this blew up, I'm out of luck. So what are you doing for me?
They ask us all the time, not as much as they used to, because I guess it's known that I don't tolerate it, and I don't tolerate it. So I'm looking you in the camera. I don't tolerate
Talking to you.
If you want to bring your bacon and eggs to my cookout, I'm not cooking them on my griddle. Because here's what happens: if you get sick, was it my dirty griddle or was it your bacon and eggs? And we're in a pissing war about it. So
I relate so much to his analogies. Don't bring your bacon and eggs to my house and get diesel.
People don't expect a shop, a reputable place, to take that kind of liability, because that's nothing but brain damage. So that's what I'm going to say about that. We do not install your parts. You might have bought them at the exact same place that I'm going to buy them. You might do that, but I'm not doing it, because when you give me your keys, I never want a pissing match about your parts, my work.
Okay, so what I'm hearing right now is, no, let's not motor swap this, but yes, let's have a look at that motor, see whatever needs to be done to get that going. Carburetor for sure, something has to happen.
The motor
with
that is
carburetor.
currently in it.
The motor that's currently in it.
Before we do anything with anything,
Yeah.
condition, cause, correction, confirm. Condition looks a little rough. Okay? Yeah. Now, pause. We're going to get up and running, and in order to do that, I'm going to run a compression test on it. I'll start the engine up, listen to it.
Yeah.
And maybe I won't run, if it's hitting on all the cylinders, I probably won't. I'll pop the distributor cap off, I'll check my timing chain stretch, rock it back and forth. The rotor will tell me how much stretch I got in the timing chain. And if it's hitting on all the cylinders and not misfiring and it's not smoking like out the tailpipe, I probably won't want to do a compression test unless the customer really wants that peace of mind. And then, it'll need a carburetor and, maybe some new ignition components, wires, cap, rotor. Okay.
All right. No, thank you so much. Really. Thank you for...
Look at the size of this guy's hand.
Thank you. Thank you. Look at the size of this guy's hand. I can almost touch my fingers around it.